Hey, what's up, guys? This is Church of Caboose, and for today's Destiny 2 video, I'm going to give you guys more details of my thoughts about the good and the bad that came with Trials of Osiris. I touched on this a little bit in my last video. I believe I called it Welp. Trials is back, and we're going to get a little bit more detail in this video about my thoughts on what is going on with Trials, since the last one was more about my experience getting to Trials, and then just a little bit about the day I had played as opposed to pretty much the whole weekend. But before we get more on into this, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and if you are looking for a way to, I guess, find players, because Trials LFG on the console is toxic as hell, feel free to join my Discord server, Church and Friends, and there is a link down below. Okay. So, for most of the information that I'll be giving you guys will be based off of personal experience, as well as some Reddit posts. I will do my best to have links to those Reddit posts down below, but if you're like, I want to check it out for myself, pretty sure you can probably just hop on Reddit, or the Destiny of the game, or something like that, and just search for Trials, and you will probably find lots of people backing up some of the things I'll be expressing, and some of my opinions could potentially be less than popular. So let's just kick this sucker off with a good thing. We're going to do a compliment sandwich. So, Trials is back. It's been a PvP endgame thing that's been missing for a while. A lot of folks, including myself, were really hyped for it, and that was a good thing for the game. That's I guess, the most compliment thing I will give to start it off. So let's go into more of the negative things. It is stupid sweaty. This first weekend in particular, the artifact power was enabled. So for those of you that perhaps had work called off for the coronavirus or whatever it's called, that whole disease thing floating around, and there are people that very obviously do not play most of the game, just like the end game for PvE, like raids and that kind of thing, and we're just hopping into lost sectors, beating the lost sector, run out and do it over and over and over and over for like hours, because I would go through and say, dang, that guy kicked my tail. I wonder how much this dude is. Maybe and I would look him up, and the guy had literally done nothing but PvP, and I was like, how in the world is this individual at such a high power, or like as he is? And it's because the mofo's artifact was somehow like in the teens. Like, these things take a million experience to level up, and some of these really sweaty Crucible dudes would be like 13, 14 power. You might be like, that's insane. You'd be right to think so. I was rather surprised. I saw a dude that had, I can't remember the exact power. It wasn't anything crazy like 19. It was something like 12 or 11, which tells me that since I had turned in all my bounties, I do things like the pinnacle rewards and the raids, and I'm only sitting around a +9, that this individual must have spent all day, every day leading up to Trials, just either doing Crucible matches or running in and out of a lost sector, because I've been told by clanmates that was a thing that people have done. So my clan in particular is being really excited for the next week when artifact power is not a thing, meaning that your base power is what will matter. So I want to show you guys a picture real quick of my Warlock, because it's my highest current power, and it's a character I am really proud of right now. So there's my Warlock. It's a 1006, base power of 998, plus my 8, so there you go, that's where my artifact is at, I guess, plus 8, makes you a 1006 power. This is something that took me quite a while. Like, I did master Nightmare Hunts, which is recommended power of 1030, I did all 3 raids, I did all the 100Ks, I did everything, and these guys are still somehow having a higher artifact power. So myself, and I'm sure many of you guys, are all going to be pretty excited when the artifact power buff goes away for the next weekend of Trials. I'm recording on the last day of this weekend of Trials on, I guess, March 15th. So it's going to be an exciting thing to have that whole artifact buff gone. Originally, I was excited to have the artifact power be a thing, and then I found I basically had to be over 1,000 power, because anytime my team would come up against someone with 1,000 power, especially if there was more than one of them, we had a very difficult time. I'm not saying we lost every single one of them. It's just instead of knowing we would go against dudes and be like, haha, they're lower than us, we're going to probably win. Be like, oh, crap. Even at like our 995, 98 level, 1,000 power, so someone like 3 to 4 light higher than myself would clap us ridiculously. It was nuts how big of an advantage that 1000 power was. So I'm really glad my Warlock's at a base power of 998, because that tells me if my base power is over 1000 for next weekend, I'll probably be clapping some cheeks. It'll be really fun. I did get to 6-0, and we got to cheaters. Well, I guess I can't for sure 110% say they were cheaters, because obviously anyone that loses, especially when we're on a 6-0 run, wants to kind of be like, dude, they cheated. However, we did have a guy on our fire team get removed from the game. And the first match, he was spawned on the enemy's side. Then he got kicked from the game. And then our party chat shut down. And that was just bizarre and kind of led us to feeling like, hey, they probably were doing something. And I messaged one of them and was just like, so how does it feel to DDoS? And that they left it alone. Which to some degree kind of verifies a little bit they might have been cheating, because in my experience, if you weren't cheating, you're gonna probably be like, well, no, I wasn't cheating. But then again, I guess if you were cheating, you'd probably say the same thing. So I don't know. I have no idea. But that is really disheartening, and cheating is a really big problem in Destiny 2, and I just don't get it. Like, some people will talk about, well, they're just exploits you find in the game, or blah 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 blah. You do them for raids, right? Raids, like when you're working with other people against AI. Like, no one's gonna really have their hearts broken, or like we running on a crazy run and then just everything falls apart with that one loss. Because I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I keep finding when I go with groups, I was routinely getting 5-0, 6-0, 4-0 before we would get a loss. We get the loss, the LFG group would just be like, screw this, I'm out. That was really stupid. And so when people are exploiting, because even if they're not actually cheating and it's just somehow some sort of exploit, like Gambit has this thing where someone on your team like levels up their season rank, then the other team, someone or the whole team gets kicked out of the game. Like that's pretty cheaty. Like, I was worried that was going to be a thing for trials, and I totally foresaw folks intentionally then trying to go do a match where they have just barely short of what they need. Someone turns in bounties, other team gets kicked off, and you just do that 7 times, and boom, there's a flawless. Or just get to 5 or 6 wins, and then just do that whole little glitch for the last couple of wins. And anyways, point is, cheating is a big issue. It's all over the place, and it's dumb, which kind of ties into something else negative. Originally, we were all told that matches were going to be connection-based as well as win-based. So you would start off with who you had the best connection with, and then after so many wins or some unknown number of wins, you would start playing against people that were at your same point. So if you were on 5 wins, odds are you'd be playing against someone that was going for their 6th win or 5th win, just like you were. Like, that was kind of the whole gist. That's what D1 did, if my memory serves me correctly. Destiny 1 Trials of Osiris was based off of the wins. And so sometimes your first win, you'd play against a stupid sway team because everyone starts needing a first win. And then as you progress, you could either have less sweaty teams, and then by the time you hit up to win like 5 or so, their matches were pretty dang sweaty because everyone at that point was on 5 wins, which makes sense. However, from Reddit posts, there are people posting that this connection win card based is not the case. There was a post, and I'm sure there's more than this one individual, where the person said, hey, it's not win based, it's connection based. I can't remember if he said several or a few, but he said he had matches where when their team would lose, they would lose their first game. They had 0 wins, 0 losses, just brand new card, lose their first game, and the team that beat them would have the little notification being like, you have been deemed worthy for the lighthouse or something like that. Whatever it is that let you know the other team just earned flawless. So understandably, they're like, what the heck? Why are we consistently playing like our first couple of wins, or even like 0 wins, our first match of that card against people that are clearly on their 6th win and they just got their flawless? And that is super disheartening. I feel bad for them. I can't say myself where that happened to me. I do know, however, on my 6th win, we got a notification where the other team went flawless, and obviously we didn't because we lost the match that would have put us flawless. And so I was kind of like, oh, all right, it's win based. Like starts off connection and it's win based. Nope. Apparently that's not the same experience for everybody, and I think that's something that Bungie really needs to fix. I understand that, everyone has to win a game, so your first game or two could be against some really, really sweaty players because they have to go somewhere. But the whole experience of Trials kind of bases around people being able to at least get a couple of wins. And this is where we're going to talk about my big complaint with what we know so far of Season of the Worthy. Currently, Trials seems to be the big thing. Like everything seems to have been thrown into the one basket of Trials of Osiris. Now, for those of you arguing, well, there's this new 6-man to 9-man activity that's a horde mode on the EDZ. Like that's a big deal. You know what? Yeah, like yes, that's fun. It's a new mode. Like you have the whole Rasputin bunkers that you get to level up, and as the season progresses, my understanding is that we get more locations to do these Seraph bunkers on, and I believe some of them eventually get harder. But that's it. I know we have an exotic quest coming out on Tuesday, which off the top of my head should be March 17th. But exotic quests, they tend to be over and done with rather quickly. I wouldn't be too surprised if this exotic quest coming up here shortly is for the 4th Horseman, and we can easily pull it off within like an hour or two. Especially based off of how past quests like the Bastion, well, if you exclude that whole puzzle thing, because we would have gotten the quest anyway, but especially the Devil's Ruin, like, they tend to be rather short exotic quests for whatever reason than the last couple of seasons, so I wouldn't be holding my hat that we're going to have this long, lengthy quest that really makes people push themselves to the limit in order to attain the 4th Horseman. I basically expect it'll drop, then we'll basically have it, and I'll be like, man, what's the point of even putting out a guide on how to get this thing, because it's that easy. Like, I didn't do a guide, or at least not a very thorough one, on Devil's Ruin. I think it was something like 5 minutes paired with there's a couple of topics in that one video. So really, all the eggs are in the basket of Trials, which, if most of the Destiny community was PvP players, if things like looking for group on console, like on your console's built-in function, wasn't toxic and boring as heck, if it was easy to find teammates that would actually stick out and try to grind for wins, and if Trials really wouldn't be that bad of a thing to have the main pool around the season. But I know I'm not the only one. I kept having, and this has been driving me nuts, I'm not going to use names because I don't want anyone feeling like I'm trying to call them out individually, just because I know this experience is not mine alone. Alright, for LFG with Trials, a lot of people play more of the PvE side, and not necessarily even just like end game of like raids and dungeons. That's not a super popular thing. Granted, there's a lot more people that do raids and dungeons than there are that can go flawless, but the point is most people do PvE, and so I was just LFG looking for folks because my clan's PvP guys were either all like teamed up doing their own flawless runs, which congrats to them. We have a handful in our clan that got flawless on the first day. I got close to 6-0, but anyways, and so like I was just like, you know what, I don't have anyone to play with. People on my Discord server understandably have lives and things that they're doing, and they're kind of busy, and also they knew about the power, and they're like, hey, we gotta gear up. And so I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna LFG. And actually, my first group that I went 6-0 with was off of LFG. And every single group after that, it was just bad. Like, I even hopped in with a dude who was flawless and had done 3 of them already. And myself, I'm pretty decent. I'm not going to say I'm amazing, but I'm good enough I can hold my own when I have to. I follow what the more experienced player says to do, and things usually go pretty well. And that didn't even go very well because, people tend to just be like the very individualistic of, screw you, doesn't matter what my power is, I'm going to go off and do my own thing. And that seems to be really super common with LFG. Then the other common thing is you're playing, you get a couple of wins, you get a loss, and they're like, screw it, you guys suck, I'm out. Like, what? Like, that's fine. I had a group I got 5-0 with, we got a loss, and they all just bailed. Granted, my controller batteries died in the middle of a match, which And, I got zero warning about that, so thanks, Xbox. And they just kind of like, oh, you were AFK for a round, and so they just left. I was like, what the heck? I messaged one of them because they sent me like, why were you AFK? I was like, I wasn't. Like, my batteries just died, and without having any kind of a warning, like, can we just like finish it up and get to 7? Like, nah. Which leads me to one of my negative things. Part of the LFG and the flawless run means that a lot of people just have a hard time getting to 7 wins. All 3 characters of mine, or at least I'm pretty sure all 3, at least 2 out of the 3, I got to 5 or 6 wins. Meaning the only reward I had missing was a 7. So we get to like this 5 or 6 wins, and then someone will be like, hey, wipe your cards, let's try it again. We wipe the cards, and then someone's like, oh, I got a bounce, and they leave. I'm like, God, F you, man. Like, this is like the 4th or 5th time I've wiped my card, and I'm missing out on that reward of a fusion rifle. Alright, so we're leaving now the realm of LFG, which again, if you want at least a perhaps more positive experience, not necessarily a flawless or winning experience, but just maybe a more enjoyable Trials experience, feel free to join the Destiny 2, my Discord server, Church and Friends. Again, the link's down below. If that's something that interests you, hit it up. Alright, we're going to try and wrap this up here because I know we're getting close to 20 minutes. Alrighty, so the rewards are terrible for this Trials of Osiris. This has been the last negative thing that we talk about. Most players, especially if you're on the PvE side, we do stuff like for comp, like on the PvP side, because that reward is so tantalizing and so amazing. And PvP players are also very similar. Now, they'll probably play more PvP just because they enjoy it more than PvE, but the reward of getting, for example, Not Forgotten at max comp level was really enticing, and folks like me would try really hard to get to Legend, and lots of other PvE players were. PvP dudes are doing the same thing, right? And then the rewards have to be really tantalizing. And something I think I was not alone in really being excited for was all the new Trials gear. I assumed it'd be like Destiny 1, you play Trials, you turn in bounties, and you get tokens unique to that whole playlist. You turn them in, and any piece of gear could drop. Any piece of gear that isn't like tied to something like a flawless. So, for example, in Destiny 1, there was flawless armor, I believe, that had different like shaders on it, or perhaps it was just the flawless shader. And then you had adept weapons. Adept weapons were basically the Trials weapons you could get, but they had some extra perk. Usually it was something like Celerity, which basically gave you extra bonuses on that weapon when you were the last man standing. Like, that was the big draw of going flawless, was that you could build this really cool looking character that would stand out from the other Trials gears, as well as having those adept weapons. I believe there may have also been ornaments, but we're going to kind of skim over that because I didn't get flawless more than a couple of times in Destiny 1, so my memory is a little hazy on every exact thing you got from flawless in Destiny 1. Just remember it was adept weapons, as well as different colored armor from Trials. The overall shape was very similar to the regular Trials armor, but there was a different look to it. I think it was darker and more black in nature. Anyways, moving on to our Trials of Osiris that we have now. Apparently, the only way you get armor is by going flawless. And when you turn in tokens, you only get the weapons to drop that are on rotation for that week. Example, the weekend of March 15th, so starting the 13th through the 15th, at 3 wins, you got the emblem as well as the Scholar Scout Rifle. At 5 wins, you got the rocket launcher, Tomorrow's Answer, and at 7 wins, which unfortunately I have not acquired yet, you get the fusion rifle. In my last video, I had speculated that since I hadn't gotten 7 wins, perhaps it was possible you could get an armor piece at 7 wins, and it's like, but it seems more likely that it would be a weapon. And it got verified by a guy on Reddit who said, he was like, dang, I just got flawless, and all I got was a piece of armor. And so like he was just really bummed that you didn't get armor just in general from Trials. Then you have flawless armor. It's just you had armor if you got flawless in current Trials of Osiris. And then you got the new emblem that's pretty cool looking. I enjoy it. I thought it was exotic, and I expected a guy who was flawless, and it shows up as legendary. So that takes a little bit of the pressure off of me because I really wanted to get that exotic emblem. Because also, in Destiny 1, the flawless emblem was exotic. And if memory serves me correctly, it was the only exotic emblem in the whole game. Now, that seems like kind of a small thing, but it was super special to have an exotic emblem, and I figured that's probably what Bungie was going to do with Trials of Osiris Flawless in this round of Trials of Osiris in March 2020. But nope, instead, you get Flawless, you get a piece of armor, you get an ornament that only glows for a limited period of time. Because Trials isn't officially over yet, we don't know when that glowing ornament part goes away. It could be with the weekly reset on Tuesday, or it could go away when Trials returns for next week on Friday, which ballparking it is something like March 20th. So we'll find out. That's something I'm kind of curious about, because if you only get to hold on to that color, that little glowing part of your armor for 3 days, it seems kind of stupid. I mean, there are groups that can go flawless all the time, and for them it's whatever, we really don't care. But there's other folks like me, which I would argue I might even have an easier time than a lot of people, because I've been building a group of Trials dudes who are really good at Trials, and they're helping me to get better. So I think my odds of getting flawless in the near future, meaning within the next probably couple of weeks, seem relatively high to me at this point of time. Most folks are going to have to work their absolute asses off to get flawless even just once. And it'll probably be hard enough that a lot of folks will get it once and they're like, that's it. I don't want to deal with trying to get the flawless title where I have to do things like carry folks to their first flawless. I don't want to have to do those multiple flawless cards. I just get the flawless once, and that's good enough for me. But all you get is that one piece of armor, which will look pretty stupid probably with most armor sets, depending upon what the armor is. And then if you want to really show it off, then you're limited on your exotics. For example, say I got the gauntlets, because I believe the gauntlets seem to be the common armor for this week, so it might even be a set weekly rotation. So my Titan, I really love the new exotic gauntlets that let you shoot through your shield. I think it's Citron's Rampart, something like that. I would then have to be do I want to use my Flawless Trials armor, or wear this sweet-ass new exotic? I don't like having to make those kinds of choices. Nor do I like the fact that in order to get a full armor set, I'd have to go flawless, presumably 5 weeks in a row on the same character. Because if it's a set everyone gets gauntlets this week, then that tells me the next week everyone will get some different armor piece. And so if you're not able to go flawless every single week, it could very well take you a couple of months to acquire a whole armor set, and that's even assuming that you're reasonably able to do flawless consistently, and perhaps you were just busy or sick a weekend, knock on wood, with that whole coronavirus thing going around. Hopefully you guys are all staying safe. So overall, I'm just really bummed. The rewards aren't that great. I tried really hard to make the Scout Rifle work. I think it sucks. I do love being able to use Hard Light, and I think it's kind of funny when people are like, I want to use Hard Light because I think it's stupid that's the meta. Well, you know what? If Hard Light is what's kicking everyone's butt, then why not use it and kick everyone else's butt instead of dragging your team down and just complaining about how dumb it is that Hard Light's really good. And I guess there you go. There's the last kind of a thing I will leave you guys with. If you're that kind of person that wants to blame the reason you're losing is because everyone else is using that gun, and you have that gun, and you're just choosing not to use it because you think you're too cool for school, for the love of God, just help your teammates out and use it. I'm not a huge Hard Light fan myself, but this thing has been destroying a Crucible. I'm like, you know what? I'd be kind of stupid to not use it, so I'm just going to use it and just be a good dude and just try and help my team achieve Flawless. If that's what it takes to do Flawless, then I will love to use this gun and get myself a Flawless. When I get really good, then I'll try messing it up and just kind of seeing what happens. So stop complaining about the meta and just use whatever it is. And if you don't have Hard Light, I'm really sorry. Hard Light's an RNG drop, so is the Catalyst. And unfortunately, if you don't have either of those things, I guess I hope RNG blesses you in the near future so that way you get it, or just check in and see where Zur is at, and because eventually you'll probably sell a Hard Light. Alright guys, I am Church of Caboose. Thank you all so much for watching. I just wanted to share you guys my thoughts with Trials. I am definitely going to still be playing Trials. Please don't take me wrong in thinking that I'm shitting all over Trials and I'm done with it. I'm not going to, no, I'm going to play it again. I really want to get to the point where I get a Flawless or two and I just play for fun. And just hop in with people off my Discord and not have any expectations. I just want to get in there, do my best, just see what happens. And that's kind of where I want Trials to end up being. I think that was the original point behind Trials, was to give people more of a competitive game mode that wasn't comp, that could give some unique rewards, since pinnacle weapons and ritual weapons are no longer a thing. and just kind of give folks an area to have fun with. And then I think the expectation was that reasonably a good amount of people will be able to go flawless, and I think that's the case. But with this weird matchmaking win card thing and the rewards and stuff, I don't think a lot of people feel like they have anything worth going for and to try and do Trials of Osiris. All right, y'all, I am Church of Caboose. Please comment down below what you think about this video, what opinions you share, don't share, disagree with, whatever. And happy grinding, y'all.